is bound and picking up steam. Go get 'em, Tiger. There'll be joy in Tiger Town. We'll sing you songs when the Bengals bring the pennant home where it belongs. We're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em. Detroit Tigers. Go get 'em, Tigers.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Week That Was. I'm Saeed Khan. You know, who would have known that that little jingle would have such resonance in 2026? When it mentions the Bengals, did they really predict that there would be a big Bengali enclave in Hamtramck? I think not. Well, the other thing is I didn't also realize that in literal terms that logo is Kash Patel's spirit animal, given the way that his eyes are just so wide open. So a lot going on in a little amount of time. Well, it is opening day for Tiger baseball at Comerica Park, which I got to tell you, this is the only city I know in America where opening day is practically a city holiday. I mean, but it's wonderful. Again, blue skies, and we're playing the St. Louis Cardinals. So maybe there's echoes of 1968 abound for us. And by the way, for those of you who have Xfinity, Comcast, and are getting screwed by Channel 7, yes, I feel your pain. And for those of you who want to watch Tiger baseball this year and don't want to go ahead and get fleeced by the subscription service, there is apparently one active charity. It looks like today's opening day is available to be viewed for free on WJBK Fox 2. So, yeah, Nancy.
I just want to say, as somebody who whose family at least is from St. Louis, I was born there but have no memory of it. In the early days of television, when people didn't, it was a luxury and not every house, made room in the budget for it. It was a great excuse for fathers to go down to the corner tavern, which in St. Louis is basically down to the corner, period, and watch the game on their TV. So, since it's harder and harder to watch it with a basic cable subscription, I think this is a perfect opportunity to go down to your local and take a seat at the bar.
That is sage advice. And what kind of beer were they drinking in St. Louis back then?
Well, I don't think I can tell you.
all I know is from the taste, they probably were taking buckets out of the Mississippi at that point and serving that on tap. So,
Nancy, or they could go into the Sam's or Costco and just have the free samples and watch the game. No beer, but you can do that.
Well, that actually is signaling the death knell of pubs in England, is because booze, buying a case of beer is so much cheaper from an Aldi or an Asda, and then with big screen TVs, you might as well just stay home and watch the game. But I digress. I should introduce our amazing panel for everybody. We are joined by public relations specialist and Detroit Police Commissioner Beverly Watts. We have two of our three veteran attorneys, Joel Sklar and Bill Seikaly. Steve Fishman has decided that his idea of Exodus, as it is Passover, is spending it in the promised land of Cabo San Lucas. So, Fish, your vacation. I thought he was actually going to be in Indianapolis to be with his people to deliver them to victory this weekend, meeting the Final Four and the University of Michigan men's basketball team. So it's all about priorities. We have labor and community activist Barb Ingalls. We have veteran journalist Nancy Derringer, and of course, co-founder of Deadline Detroit, Allan Lengel. Well, I don't know what you guys are doing on Wednesday night, but I pretty much got roped into watching the president's address to finally, nearly 5 weeks later, give us an update and an explanation of what we're doing in Iran. He looked certainly a little bit poorly for the effort, but made it through about a 20-minute address, something certainly shorter than his usual ramblings. Mentioned nuclear weapons probably about 20 times, despite the fact that he pulled us out of the nuclear deal in 2018, and of course also walked away from the table in Geneva where negotiations were occurring on the nuclear weapons program for Iran, and then started to attack Iran the following day, along with Israel doing the same. any thoughts on his remarks? And I guess we can, since it is a Winter Olympic season or year, we can go artistic impression and technical merit on his speech.
Wow, 0.001 on both. It was
even the Soviet judge is having a hard time.
Oh my God!
That,
it was again, it was painful to watch, because he just lies and lies and lies, and he's mumbling, and artistically there was no artistic merit whatsoever. So the presentation he's making is just further festering the doubts that existed before. He's aimless. He's lost. Iran is kicking our ass in many ways, and he can't acknowledge the quagmire that he has gotten himself into and won't take responsibility for it. And that's what the speech was. It's repulsive. We have Trump repulsive syndrome. I'm repulsed by the man, but that's what it was.
Did any of you have Kool and the Gang going on in your heads when he was saying to the rest of the world, you should cherish the Strait of Hormuz? Because okay.
He said the likes of which a lot. That's always a problem. When he says the likes of which, who?
It's interesting how Republicans made such a big deal out of when Obama drew the red line in Syria, said if you're going to use, chemical weapons, we're going to attack, and he did not follow through with that. And he was Republicans criticized him for being weak. And here Trump said, giving you 2 days to clear out the Hormuz Straits, or there's going to be bombing. Then it's like, well, wait a minute. And then it's like, well, we're going to bomb your infrastructure, the electrical grid and all that stuff. And he hasn't done that either. So I don't hear the
started doing some of that yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I read in the Times too. That he was hitting the infrastructure. He was doing all those things.
He hit a bridge. He hit a major bridge. I mean, which would have been the equivalent of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco.
Did anyone see the news this morning that Iran shot down a fighter jet over Iran? This was not the friendly fire. Mistake.
It's not the Kuwaitis of the Kuwaitis.
Yeah, it's not the Kuwaitis. This is our actual enemy. Shot down
It was an F-35, I think, the Times reported.
I think it was an F-15.
And the fate of the crew is still unknown. So.
Bill, was it an F-15 or an F-35? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't footage of Top Gun Maverick. But
sure.
What?
Iran claimed it was an F-35, but the pictures showed that it was more likely than not an F-15. So, who knows? Who cares? I mean, the F-15 is not a stealth fighter. The F-35 is. Probably be easier to shoot down the F-15.
But I think Times is reporting that both American and Iranian officials are saying it was an F-15E. So,
but the thing is, Bill, that the president was speaking on Wednesday and saying that we have decimated Iran's capabilities, but intelligence today is saying, U.S. intelligence saying that at least 50% of their missile capabilities and launch capabilities and drones are still intact. The Israeli Iron Dome, which was always touted to be basically impregnable, has shown to be very porous now with reporting, which hadn't been something that was done before, showing the missiles actually hitting Tel Aviv. So the idea then that there has been a degradation of Iran's capabilities is not really accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think his speech was awful for a bunch of reasons. I can't imagine who wrote it. And
I don't think anybody wrote it. I think it was completely improvised from like a few bullet points in Sharpie. Sorry.
That's really hard to believe. But look, I think that the important point, there are a number of important points. It demonstrates what a disastrous situation we're in. We simply don't have anybody with any sense running the country. Look what happened. That speech clearly fell flat. So what did we do? What's the next cycle of news? They fire Bondi. Let's create that distraction and take away from the fact that he's clearly lying to us about the war. He doesn't know how to tell the truth. And if there's one thing that you can look at in history about what brings down American presidents, lying about a war.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And he shouldn't do it. He should tell the truth to the American people. But the other thing is this: he still gets 40% support. I don't understand this.
Is that? Do you think that's true? I mean,
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't know that it's true. I mean, yeah, at one point he had 40% support, but everything story I read, the headline says, approval rating sinks another 2 points. And I get the feeling, and I could be completely wrong about this, it's just an inkling, that perhaps MAGA is starting to understand that they fucked up.
No, I wish so much that I could agree with you, because it's a day that I pray for. I don't see it. Every time those polls come out, I jump into. I'm obsessed with this.
Right.
His numbers never fall below 38%.
Yeah.
Right.
We have video.
I do think some of his numbers are falling. Even if the numbers, because most polls are as good as who is conducting it.
Yes.
And who you're talking to, you can almost make a poll say what you want it to say. But when you look at some of the local small elections throughout the country, you're starting to see a little bit more of the blue in certain areas that you were historically think that's automatically going to be red. So that's a little sign. It's not major, but it's.
I agree with you, Beverly, but I don't think those are the MAGA supporters. I mean, look if you've only got 40% as your base, or 30, let's make it 38%. If that's your loyal base, no matter what, you're going to have a hard time winning most elections. And I think that everybody else has turned against Trump.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to find an independent out there who says, "Oh no, the guy's reasonable enough."
Yeah.
Right.
We have video on the war.
What else is being blocked?
It's getting harder to get food that comes with pistachios.
You can't make Dubai chocolate bars.
Oh no! What will our influencers stand in line to pretend to eat? Dubai chocolate, my God, that's been an American staple for tens of days. I can't believe how the news has to frame world events to try and make Americans care. The whole region is being flattened. Innocent people are dying. Their food and fuel are in total chaos. And our news is like, if this goes on any longer, say goodbye to your stuffed crust pizza.
That was good.
I had to ask somebody what Dubai chocolate was like 2 months ago, because I kept seeing it everywhere, and I'm not on TikTok, so
it's not great. It's kind of like
it's chocolate with pistachios,
and like a
sweet.
super sweet, and kind of like a wafery pistachio filling.
Okay.
So I know for me it's a texture thing as well. It's just not good. I prefer Twix.
Okay.
Do you go to Home Goods or TJ Maxx, Nancy? Because
no.
Yeah.
Not
when you go
anyway.
when you go through the line, they snake you through the last things to buy, and it's 90% Dubai chocolate.
Wow. So that tells me that it's essentially become a closeout item. That that nobody wants it anymore. So
that's a great name. Dubai. That's a great name for a product. Little subliminal stuff going in there. Very nice.
Dubai. It's kind of like how it's kind of like why the Chevy Nova didn't do well in Hispanic countries, because it literally means don't go.
Nova.
So, but
the gas station at 10.5 in Woodward sells it. Right.
Right.
as does this lady on the corner of McNichols and John R. But that's a whole different tweet.
Oh wow!
So, okay.
Hello.
Well, I thought it was a Girl Scout sale. I mean, what do I know? But
you're Girl Scouting, yeah.
Well played, Beverly. Well, Bill. Trump made a bunch of different justifications for going into Iran: nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles, humanitarian needs for the protesters. But he also mentioned regime change. And it seems as though we've got our own version of regime change going on here with the firing of Attorney General Pam Bondi, replaced by someone equally odious, his former criminal defense attorney, Todd Blanche, as acting AG. And then also, as you said before, Pino Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense/War, goes ahead and fires the 4-star General Army Chief Randy George because of a fear that he might actually get pushback for some of the policies which could get us into deeper water. But there's also this reporting by The Intercept that Hegseth is underplaying the number of casualties of American service people. That in fact the true estimate is somewhere around 750 have lost their lives, to the point where White House Chief of Staff Susan Wiles is in fact complaining that this is really dangerous, that Trump is not being told the truth and the reality of what's going on. So, Bill, I know Bill, I think you're raising your hand because you want to be the next AG, and you've got my vote. But go on.
I do not want to be the next AG. I don't want to be the next AG. But one of the interesting things, The Guardian did a story this morning on why Randy George was fired, and they say that they've got information that one of the reasons he was fired is because he pushed back on Hegseth taking off the list of promotions some very competent women and blacks, and he said, look, this is just not how we do things, and he got fired for it. That is a terrifying possibility.
Yes.
And because if you look, if that had anything to do with the motivation, we're in the middle of a war. Here is one of our top generals who gives advice to the Joint Chiefs, who's in charge of the army, and he gets fired in the middle of a war because he's defending his people who weren't promoted. Where is that going? What's really important to this country? I mean, you add that to the fact that Trump made the mistake of speaking the truth for a change the other night at an event in which he said, well, thank you for the thumbs up. I don't know who did that. He was speaking at an event the other night, and he said, look, we can't afford to pay for daycare. We can't afford to pay for Medicare. We can't afford to pay for Medicaid because we've got to fight these wars.
What a bunch of shit that was.
Yeah, no joke.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. As somebody who's
$1 trillion proposal to increase defense spending by 40% this year.
Yeah.
This is nuts. We don't have serious people trying to solve them.
No.
We have video from the Trump speech.
Blowjob! Blowjob!
Blowjob. Yep.
Good audience participation.
Yes.
You know, Alan, I think Otter's speech after that was so much more articulate and eloquent than what Trump provided on Wednesday. And I'm not going to stand here and hear you badmouth the United States of America. Gentlemen. Brilliant. I'm
so the flip side, to Bill's point, they will defend a pilot who just, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he went to see, Kid Rock. I don't know what.
Oh, right.
The two Apache helicopters.
They're having the fan moment,
Did you see Tiger Woods? They were showing a video, and he's walking off, and he's like, yes, Mr. President. And then he goes, I was just talking to the president, like president's going to tell a cop, hey, let him off, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
because
can't make this up.
Isn't Tiger Woods dating Trump's niece?
No,
Jr.'s ex-wife.
It's Don Jr.'s ex-wife.
Okay.
His name is Vanessa.
Vanessa. Yes, BRICS is here. You are absolutely right. There is a counterpoint to the West. But you mentioned a 40% increase in the defense. The White House is seeking $1.5 trillion for the defense budget coming up. And part of that is because Trump says, we're not going to be there for NATO. NATO hasn't been there for us. So we're going to have to go ahead and pick up all of our toys, bring them home, and build new toys and have the taxpayer pay for it. this
bunch of, well, never mind.
Idiocy. It's just
it really is.
idiocy.
Well, but the bigger problem, guys, is this is going to be a really long-term problem for us.
Yes,
it
the
is.
rest of the world
absolutely.
is not going to trust us.
Right.
And you can't blame them.
They
You
don't
really
trust
can't
us
blame them.
now.
James Carville apparently is on record now as saying that he thinks that Trump is going to resign after the midterms rather than be impeached again, probably another 2 or 3 times by the time they're done with him, which would give us 2 years of J.D. Vance to be presidential. Much harder to beat, I think, in 28 than any Democrat. Well, than Trump would be, rather. And so I don't know. You're right. I mean, this could be. This is, in a lot of ways, it's the end of the United States.
But Nancy,
I'm not so sure his ego will allow him to let Vance.
Well, that's the other thing. And my husband said, "I'll believe it when I see it." Go ahead.
No, but Nancy, don't you think that's poetic? I mean, Vance is not going to be able to create enough daylight between him and Trump, and Vance is going to be known as Desdemona's handkerchief.
He is in a lot of ways, right? Desdemona's handkerchief.
I mean, and
very
well, given yes, a pinky's out, but given that. And given the reference, I think it's actually apt because, Alan, we have video about another scandal dealing with the Trump administration and former cabinet members, including former Secretary of DHS, Kristi Noem.
She really needs to just lay low and stay out of the headlines. Sorry, what's that?
Former Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem is said to be stunned by reports that her husband may be leading a cross-dressing double life.
According to the Daily Mail, Noem's 56-year-old husband, Brian, is a secret cross-dresser who wears gigantic fake boobs and wears pink hot pants while he chats online with fetish models who have gigantic breasts.
Can't believe the lady banging her employee on a plane is the less messy one in their marriage.
You know you're in trouble when Megyn. You know you're in trouble when Megyn Kelly can't even make her way through that whole thing without laughing.
Don't post that, Alan. It's just spam.
Okay.
Thank you. God, I tried. I'm trying to co-pilot.
But for those of you who are watching,
you guys, I can't stop seeing what I just saw in that video.
I can't believe it.
This is a week that we should be doing shots after.
I know. Right.
Bill, that would be like your picture from yesteryear having a lazy eye. I mean,
I was like, who knew that even existed?
Yeah. You know, it's funny because at this point in a story like this, I am obliged to say that I'm no kink shamer. You know, it's like
I was just going to say, kink shaming is the least of our problems.
He is not. He's nobody's problem but Kristi Noem's.
Nancy, is that just your character, or is it because it's Good Friday?
But you know, you have to point out that this happens with the spouse of an administration member that has been the least queer friendly in the in history, and it's just these people. The New York Times was already doing a story about Brian Noem, and they were in his hometown, this tiny little hamlet in South Dakota. And people and so when the story broke, the reporter was already there. He was able to run around and talk to some of these people, and they're all like, "Oh, I feel so bad for him. Oh, this is so, this has got to be really tough for them as a couple involved." It's like, where is all of this sympathy for your gay kid that you disown, for trans kids, for anybody who doesn't follow the the male female heterosexual binary here? It's just
the story's really not that he's a cross-dresser.
Of course not.
It's the hypocrisy.
It is exactly.
It is the hypocrisy.
But it reminds me of something else regarding South Dakota, and that's the movie Fargo. Well, that was North Dakota, but close enough. It's one of the Dakotas where Frances McDormand is interviewing people about the kidnappers, and she says, "Yeah, he was funny looking." So
yeah, it's a funny looking one. Yeah,
yeah, it's
White Bear
amazing.
League.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we're from White Bear League. I love that. Just kills me.
So, but I mean, and then Kristi Noem has the unbelievable gall to ask for support and sympathy and to leave her alone.
Respect my privacy, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and Brian, I feel sorry for that guy. Wearing fake boobs that go in different directions versus crawling into bed with Kristi Noem. That's going to go right.
Well, but that again, given it's Good Friday, that's Corey Lewandowski's cross to bear.
Yeah.
But I think what's more interesting as well is the fact that all of this is coming full circle. An Iranian group, or a suspected Iranian group, has claimed responsibility for hacking and disclosing FBI Director Kash Patel's email account, along with photographs of Cuban Cash hanging out in Havana, or at least smoking a bunch of Cuban cigars as well. I mean, this just keeps going. And Nancy, are you going to have to create a whole second bingo card?
Well, it would be unfair to do it now, but it's when I look at my bingo card, which I am still working on, we've got 6 squares already, marked off. I feel that my problem is the same problem that we realized after 9/11, a failure of imagination. I've got Yoko Ono dies, another extramarital affair exposes RFK Jr., JD and Usha Vance split. I mean, these are just, you can't come up with, Iranians hack Kash Patel's email and release photos of him smoking stogies in Havana. I mean, it's just, you can't do it.
Well, there's this one video going around allegedly of Kash Patel dancing to a Bollywood song. Someone has informed me it might be apocryphal.
It is. Well, it's apparently that's an old video from some guy who was dancing around because his wife was gone for the weekend.
But there hasn't been any refutation that the person holding the camera was not Brian Noem.
It could have been. It totally could have been.
And I'm a firm believer in unification theories, bringing everything together. Well, it looks like in some form of undoing, because of the pressures on him, the president is looking to sign an order to go ahead and fund DHS to allow then TSA agents to be paid. But I thought TSA was paid directly by fees paid by the airlines. So I'm still a little bit confused about why they're not getting paid.
With every ticket. There are TSA fees right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Pro tip:
confused
if you're not on TSA, if you fly more than once a year, TSA pre is the best nickel bargain in America.
I agree.
Yeah, I love it. I will never give up TSA pre.
Are you really saying that you're confused about why we are being lied to?
Right.
Bill, it's not for me. It's for our audience and for you to provide the explanation.
There was like a tragic plane crash that we're not talking about that occurred earlier, where 3 people died, and because of an air traffic control tower that's probably not properly staffed.
One air traffic controller.
Right. And was on staff, had just dealt with an emergency and had to keep working after this emergency. So what does that say about our infrastructure? It says that we're not funding the right jobs. This is Trump's effort to decay the country. And it's shameful to see. These, I think those are real serious issues. And these are the manifestations of this Trump policy of taking money away from anything that would benefit the public truly. For
this
public
is America first. Joel, don't forget, this is America
first.
Right, America.
His comment was, somebody just made a mistake. Somebody made a mistake.
Right.
And the mistake was getting Elon Musk to have control over Doge to go ahead and make all these cuts. So
right. And absolutely. But you're seeing these, and these are the concrete examples of what Trump's craziness is doing to us. Iran is a concrete example. These are concrete examples. There's going to be more. and he's going to lie bigger and bigger and bigger because that's what Trump is all about. But I think I don't think Iran's going away, and if Iran does do something, there'll be another god awful, catastrophic event that he creates. He manufactures this shit because he needs to.
Yeah.
Alan.
I would say, and I know people get critical of this, but he is a Russian asset. He's undermining NATO. He's undermining democracy.
Yeah.
He's destroying really the U.S. He's destroying all the alliances that the U.S. has. I mean, Russia could not ask for anything more than
he lifted the sanctions on Russian oil.
Right.
He lifted the sanctions on Iran, the country we are supposed to
war with.
Oh, but Nancy gets so much better than that, because he lifted the sanction on Iranian oil, and Iran is now selling oil to China, and China's paying for it in the yuan, not in the US dollar. And other countries with whom we have defense arrangements, like Japan, are also considering using the yuan. So the monopoly that the US dollar had on oil transactions around the world has just been Jenga'd. And so you find that there's a de-dollarization. So it's not just about paying $1.50 more at the pump for us. It is the fact that we're getting pantsed on the dollar around the world. And of course, for a Wharton graduate like Trump, to not get that. By the way, he graduated from the undergrad program at a time when the acceptance rate at Penn was, wait for it, 40%. and his dad knew the admissions officer for the transfer from Fordham. Barb.
I think that, to circle back on his poll numbers and stuff, most people don't understand what's going on with the money and the oil and all of that. They know that they're paying more. And the reason that poll numbers are changing, though, is that for reasons that they really don't understand, is this is hitting Republicans and MAGA and humans alike. Right. So, I mean, and this is what's going to change it. And those changing numbers aren't really MAGA yet, because they still hate the same people as Donald Trump does. But regular people that would be more conservative are like, wait a minute, this is terrible. 1.5 trillion. But everybody around us is going to lose their health care. I mean, and I think that this is, and they don't care, but I don't think they understand that this is what they're losing. I mean, this is the part.
A lot of willful blindness, a lot of willful ignorance going on here. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance, and if you're if you're the mark of the con, you're the last person to recognize you're the mark of the fucking con or admit it to yourself. There's got to be shame. I had I know people whose identity is Trump and his MAGA, and they will, no matter what you say to them, they will not. You can say the worst thing in the world you could do as a human, it won't change their view.
They're in denial. Your Joel is absolutely correct. They will
you can
not
bring up facts, but it's denial. It's like it's just constant. It's just
they're the frog in the boiling water, though.
Yeah,
they
really are.
That's why last week was just so glorious. To be around people that understood it, it was like a giant sigh of relief.
You're talking about the No King.
Yeah. Joel, as we get to that, Joel, I used to wonder when I was a kid what human beings would comprise the Soylent Green, but now I guess I realize it.
Yeah.
So anyway, because it is made of people.
We have a video.
After being terrorized by Trump's immigration goons for months, over 200,000 people stood up to the administration in St. Paul, Minneapolis. And the crowd heard from Joan Baez, Maggie Rogers, Bruce Springsteen, and Senator Bernie Sanders, who I hope performed a Springsteen song. Everybody's got a hungry heart. Hungry for soup? Protests.
That was a great shot.
This is what I wore to mine. Yeah.
Right.
See, I would shout out to an obscure event from 2020 when the Wayne County Board of Canvassers initially refused to certify the election, and got the expected abuse, and one of these women was Monica Palmer was bombarded with, angry messages, threats, the usual stuff. The stuff that happens to any woman who speaks out. And when she was asked about it at a state committee hearing, he said, "Well, who was behind this?" And she goes, "I think it was Grosse Pointe Antifa."
Did they meet in your basement?
Pardon me?
Did they meet in your basement?
Yeah, they meet in my basement.
Old fashioned.
You have to. We serve tea and it's pinkies up and all that stuff.
Yeah,
You should
your president said no King's Day was fake news.
Yeah, fake news.
But what they really should be showing, especially the MAGA supporters, each day and every day, how much money that man has made since he's been in office.
Oh my God, they're gonna. I mean, I used to joke that they would have to count the silverware when he moved out, but I mean, I really think it's already gone.
I don't think they'd care. Unfortunately, Beverly, I wish you were right that they would be offended. And here's why, because I still try to talk to these people. They believe that that's what goes on all the time anyhow. Trump's just honest about it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that nonsense line. Yeah. Oh, no, this happens all the time. Trump just is open about it. He is not a phony. I think it's crazy. I mean, I think it's crazy the way that his children and he are profiting from almost everything that goes on.
Yeah.
It's despicable.
But Bill, I agree with you.
MAGA people
some of them, it goes back to what we're saying. There's such a denial. It doesn't matter what we say, because it goes to their intelligence to even say we really chose the wrong guy and we followed a guy that's just lunatic, tearing this country down, that we're saying is passionate. They're going to hold on to that because they like him. And then also it goes to the fundamental thing. It's not about him doing the right thing or the wrong thing, is what he believes in, and what they believe he believes in is dividing us and saying we're more superior than anyone else. And we will eliminate all minorities. So they feed on stuff like that. So it doesn't matter.
I really buy that, Beverly. I really buy, especially the last one. This hatred against blacks,
everybody, right?
All non-whites, the gays, all of them. It empowers these people who feel like, oh, we used to be somebody, now they're taking it away from us. And I think that more than anything else, I'm on his side, because I don't want to go back to just being some nobody.
Bill, you know how many MAGA wanted my job as a Near East Studies professor that I screwed them over? I mean, the line just goes around the block. So
yeah, a lot of people wanted to study Pennsylvania and Ohio, the Near East.
And thank you, Allan, for not hiring any of them to allow me to be the host of this show. I'm sure the death fatwas are long and hard coming there. But from the standpoint of the rank and file MAGA, you also have somebody like Trump's quote unquote spiritual advisor, and there was that awful Easter function where Paula White Kane from Florida, who, by the way, her husband is Jonathan Kane, the keyboardist in Journey.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I heard that. I was astonished. And isn't she connected to some kind of like fiscal flim flam involving the Journey finances?
There was quite a bit of flim flam going on, but she went to Trump and says, "I'm still yours faithfully." But going there and saying you and Jesus have a lot in common. He was vilified, he was crucified, and all of this, and he of course is soaking it up. Yeah. But the fact that you had all of these other preacher pastor folks going around there and giving a big amen and praying over him and all, I mean, it was wowsy. Yeah.
I'd be okay if he was crucified. You've got to search for points of agreement, right?
We have no idea.
I can't disagree with you on that at all.
It's like Flannery O'Connor's short story, The Wise Blood, where she said it's the Church of her church, the church the guy wants to found, them that's dead stays dead.
Barb.
Yeah.
I just want, and back to Beverly's point, it's who's been fired from the Trump administration, but so far the women.
So far.
Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem. They're saying that Tulsi Gabbard is next.
She's not. Yeah.
I'm happy about all three of those things. But is anything they've done is it equally bad as Kash Patel or Pete Kevstand?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it's at the end of the day, he's going to make the women pay. Maybe Caroline Leavitt's next.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he
No,
also
I think it's going to be. I've been told. I think I read somewhere that it was that Kash Patel is next on the chopping block, but I don't. He's not supposed to have the. I mean, isn't the president or the head of the FBI independent of? Can they still be fired by the president? I think they
can be fired. It's a 10-year. It's supposed to be. Originally,
that's right.
It's supposed to be a 10-year appointment so that they could avoid politics. But Trump fired Comey, and he was basically going to fire Christopher Wray.
Yes.
You can't. I mean, Clinton fired the FBI director. You can't fire the director for cause, but it's supposed to be a 10-year term.
Right.
Mueller served 12 years. He was extended 2 years. So.
Yeah, the idea is it's supposed to cross presidencies.
But under the Supreme Court, I think if you were to fire him, they let him fire him because he's part of the executive office.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the way that the Supreme Court is deferential to the king.
Right.
Well, in some cases, but maybe not completely, because on Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court heard, which I don't know why it even has to hear this, a birthright citizenship case. And President Trump also now has the distinction of being the only, or I should say the first, and up until now, of course, the only sitting U.S. president to go and hear the oral arguments, which made me think of that scene in Godfather 2 where Michael Corleone brings in the brother of Frank Pantangeli, flies them in from Sicily to just sort of sit there to kind of then intimidate Pantangeli into singing like a canary and self-incriminating himself.
He's like, he did everything but do this. You know,
although that guy had the greatest line he's at the wedding. He's at one of the mafia weddings, and there's a canopy, and he goes, "A canopy? It's a fucking whatever, chopped liver on a cracker."
He was a great character. Okay,
you can't make this up.
I'm curious. I mean, you know, I've only practiced law for 45 years. Maybe I'll get it right someday, but I think people who bring their clients to oral arguments to try and put pressure on the judge are the most ridiculous people around. I've got a case right now in which this clown is doing a similar thing. I think it almost always backfires, and it almost always makes you look bad. And it gets multiplied here. I mean, you know, even these conservatives got to be worried a little bit about the dignity of the court. He gets up and walks out as the ACLU's argument is beginning. What a punk. Yeah. And I've got to believe that I think Alito and Thomas are going to go along with whatever.
Maybe 7-2.
I think they'll find a way. But I loved Robert's line about, you know, it may be a different world, but it is the same Constitution. And I think that most people who can read at a 6th or 7th grade level read the 14th Amendment. It just clear. It says anybody born here subject to the jurisdiction.
Any person. And they're fighting the word domicile? Really?
Right.
You know, and that's where Amy Barrett, you know, Comey had some great questions about that. You're eliminating everybody, you know, that children of slaves and citizens or the Native American. I mean, it was just the absurdity of the argument. I think a 7-2 decision or 6-3 at the worst is what I would expect.
Who would be the third? I'm just dying of curiosity. Who you think?
Kavanaugh? It's going to be, you know, Gorsuch. Kavanaugh or Gorsuch. I just don't know. I can see Kavanaugh doing it. I can see him bending.
This is why the whole idea that Trump fired Bondi because he didn't think she was moving fast enough or more aggressively enough to prosecute his enemies. And it's like, she's done quite a few of these already and lost. I mean, between her and Jeanine Pirro, they're just like, they're up against sandwich guys. Like the reason she's not doing well is because there's no case here.
Well, did you
errands? That's what she's running. They're all fool's errands,
Yeah.
But here, the Solicitor General wasn't even articulate when it came to his points. I've never heard that much laughter during the oral arguments at the Supreme Court. I mean, he was a laughing stock in the arguments that he was trying to put forward. It was embarrassing to see that this case was even given it was given certiorari. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous.
And the guy who made the Solicitor General, he would be affected by this and wouldn't have any citizenship. It was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, I think what's the better thing is that 4 out of the 5 Trump spawn wouldn't pass the test. Only
I see this brought up by the dumbest Democrat lefty accounts on social media all the time. You don't have to have both parents be.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
no, it's like if your father, or in this case, it would have been Trump is their father. It wouldn't have. It doesn't matter that one parent is not a citizen when.
Wait,
was he?
I want to deal with this. Hold on. This is
okay. Let's ask the lawyer. Am I wrong?
I mean, here's the problem. Here's the problem with saying the 14th Amendment doesn't say what it says. Here's the problem with our friend Derek Henry, who says the 14th Amendment was only to apply to freed men. Only. The problem with this is if you eliminate the 14th Amendment, who says that if one of your parents is a citizen, you're automatically a citizen? Who says it? You throw the rule book completely out. There's nothing. I mean, there's some statutes that say if one of your parents is a citizen, then you automatically can become a citizen. But look at my father. My father wouldn't have been a citizen. He, by weird chance, was born in the United States, which is how he got back in 48. But he wouldn't have been a citizen. Wouldn't have been able to get back here. Yeah. We have to remember, we've reinvented our history so much.
Yeah,
we didn't have immigration until relatively recently. We were the country that was open. These steamships just came and people came out. We weren't open. We had open borders because we thought it was in our best interest.
Right. And we needed the labor. I mean, that's, we needed strong backs to work in the factories and dig the subways and everything else. I mean, that's, that was part of Mom Donnie's St. Patrick's Day speech, as he talked about, the Irish who came over here, who escaped the famine and came over here and got jobs, building the infrastructure of New York City. Yeah. I mean, that's you're right. But then when the prejudices started kicking in, then the laws went into effect.
But we have trouble with farms right now. People don't want to do that work. Yeah. It's why
and it's going to be worse. Bill, it's going to be made worse because the price of fertilizer is already double because of its inability to get through the Strait of Hormuz. But if we really cherished it, farmers would rush to the Strait of Hormuz and take it for themselves like they will.
Well, come on, let's admit they'd send them back
there.
Instead, farmers are losing their properties left and right, and they're being bought up by huge companies that people like, what's his name? J.D. Vance has a big stake in. And then more industrial food that is not as good and is cheaply and is done by machines. Yeah. And then his friends have AI and it's going to take all the jobs. All you young people out there learning coding, you're out. You're out. Everybody's out. Graphic
guess what, Barb? Some of them, that number, they still support them.
Yeah,
because their axe has not been gored yet. But the moment it is, that's what
And on top of that, Barb, I heard that they blew up the Chicken Man in Philly last night. So you know,
Not with this anymore.
well, I want to talk about something positive. I mean, this is holiday weekend for many, and it is a beautiful blue sky day here in the D. Artemis 2 launches its first manned moon mission, although they're not landing on the moon, in over 50 years, and it went by textbook. And it really brought the country and the world together a few hours before the orange speech so that we could all be heroes just for 1 or 2 hours. And I just want to tip my hat to NASA for giving us that wonderful distraction. Of course, they had to go otherworldly to do it, but that whole idea of inspiration, of fascination, of possibility that the moon launch has brought. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched it, but I was like riveted.
I watched the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Yeah. Look, I one of my most vivid memories of as a child was watching the space shots from Alan Shepard to John Glenn orbiting the planet to the moon launch. Those were great events, and it brought us together. Think about historically what this country would have done in the past, and what we've got 3 Americans and a Canadian on this flight.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how great it would have been if we would have had a truly international crew on that ship. We used to be a country that brought people together, that explored the world together and tried to bring people together. Now Trump says we don't need NATO. They don't take care of us. I'm not going to take care of them. We've become a country that's so mean-spirited that even these great things that we do, we're not doing like we used to do.
NASA cannot track this launch without the coordination of many other countries where you have tracking stations based there, and this has been a long-standing policy of how space launches occur. By the way, Bill, I think you might be a little bit premature. It is an international project right now with the Canadian. We haven't taken over Canada yet to make it all American.
I said we had 3 Americans and a Canadian. I said that.
Okay.
I got it. But but they had to sneak the Canadian on. I mean, they kept on asking for his passport every time he.
Well, apparently that explains the 6-pack of Molson that he brought on board, and who knows? But there's a certain irony to this, because a lot of conspiracy theorists believe that the moon landing never occurred, and this one actually happened on April Fool's Day. So I'm not sure how helpful that really was.
In the words of Bruce Springsteen, on every street in America, you got assholes and nice guys. There you go.
There you go. All right, Alan, why don't we go to our last segment then?
Downtown Detroit, Robert Wells, Schmuck of the Week.
There you go. Beverly, you're taking the center square today. Who do you have for our schmuck?
No one this week is going to topple this guy for me. Is your president. I mean, on this Good Friday. You know, when I think about the discussions and conversations I've had with individuals this week, it's like they're so sad. You can see a brokenness like never before. And he is the blame, you know, for all of this, you know, mentally, physically, people's fear, you know, where the country is right now, just that energy. I mean, anxiety is coming as you approach midterms. People are getting more anxious again because they know what happened before they thought couldn't happen again, and yet it did. So it's just a fear. So I say, you know, your president, Trump, is my schmuck of the week on this unfortunate Good Friday.
Schmuck of the millennium.
Beverly, did you somehow attain Canadian citizenship that he's our president? You seem to be extricating yourself from this.
Well, I watch the mail every day. I'm trying to see.
Okay. Otherwise, I was
never in the application. So
I was going to put you through the Canadian citizenship test and make you name the front line of the Canadian national hockey team and sing "Oh Canada." So, all right, Joel.
I'm going to go with Rob Schneider, the former SNL comedian who has gone far to the right and is advocating for a draft that he was never eligible for. to support this war. He thinks it'd be good for the American kids to get out there and get drafted. I don't know what is it with these. With some there's Jim Brewer, who I used to think was hilarious. He's also a far right wing. I don't know what's going on with these guys.
And it's Miller.
To total schmucks, and total assholes. Adam Carolla, who I never liked anyway, couldn't stand that.
He wasn't that funny to begin with, Rob Schneider. So
no, he had Tapia.
Yeah, he was a Johnny
a one-trick pony.
I need it in the house.
I met him and Ed Asner at the Labor Day parade in Detroit, and I was at the Washington Post at the time. I had come in for the parade. And I told him I was working for the Washington Post, and he said, Washington Post is the only paper that gave me a good review on my last movie.
Yeah, that was, I remembered one of Roger Ebert's most vicious pans was Rob Schneider. I think it was the Deuce Bigelow movie.
Yeah.
One or two.
The one with the one in Europe. So that might've been two, but yeah. So there.
If it wasn't for Adam Sandler, his career would have been over a long time.
Absolutely. Adam Sandler is the nicest and forgiving human ever.
Yeah.
Sandler just sort of.
I met him at the Labor Day parade too, Alan, and people kept walking up to him and going, "It's the Schneiderman." Like one after the other.
You look pretty stoned. You look pretty stoned. His eyes were pretty glazed.
He was very high, and yes.
There we go.
Maybe he got into Tiger Woods' stash on that. So let's see. All right, Barb.
There's always John James, who is vacationing in the Caribbean right now while his candidacy goes, completely tits up, if you'll excuse.
I thought you were going to say goes even further south than he is now.
That's a good one.
But the something that seems to have just sort of like slipped under the radar a little bit, the Trump administration is dismantling the U.S. Forest Services, moving their headquarters to Utah, where Mormons believe that the entire earth is there for their use. And you use it, and it doesn't matter. And I'm not insulting people who believe in that religion, except for that and the underwear is a part that I can't get behind. It's terrifying. I mean, this is terrifying. I mean, it was a Republican that started the national parks and protected our land, and 50 research facilities across 31 states will be eliminated.
It's unbelievable. There's so much good research being done by the Forest Service. There was.
If any of you have ever been to Hartwick Pines in northern Michigan, it's a really beautiful park, but they have an entire museum dedicated to how badly the tree line was decimated in the early part of the last century. And there's a picture of a guy standing on a log, and there's nothing but felled trees behind him. I mean, for miles. It's a terrifying picture. And on the bottom, it says never again. Well,
the whole state was clear cut and provided the capital for the auto industry. So yeah.
And built Chicago, and when you built those mansions in Buck Park that were all made of wood, those were all lumber guys.
Exactly.
With me. So thanks again for something else that we need a lawsuit against to stop them from doing.
Behind every great fortune is a crime. So there you go. Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Bill.
So I've got, I guess, a trioca of schmucks of the week. It's a guy named Brett, I'm going to slaughter his name, Vikovich, who is the co-founder of Power Us, who brought in the Trump sons, Donald and Eric, into their business of selling drones. And they're now marketing these and putting pressure on Middle East countries to buy them. Gee, I wonder if they even paid for their shares in the company. You want to talk about an outrageous conflict of interest. But apparently, if your last name's Trump, you don't have a conflict of interest.
No.
Yeah. I've never seen such corruption from a I mean, it's so brazen. It's not even there is no such thing as a conflict of interest anymore. And
that's what they can find. I mean, you got to remember, presidents used to put their stuff in a real blind trust.
Right.
Right.
Oy. Nancy.
Well, I know I try to keep it to one, but I'm going to throw in two. First one is, of course, Tiger Woods, who is keeps hitting bottom and keeps getting saved by his own money and reputation and everything else. And sooner or later, he's going to kill himself or somebody else. And, he'll have nobody to blame by himself. But I think my main schmuck this week is the Macomb County Sheriff's Department. Apparently earlier this week, there was some sheriff's deputies or township police, I forget who, observed an individual on an e-bike run a stop sign, which of course we know is a capital offense. And they actually gave chase, but called it off when they realized that if they hurt somebody, this would be the stupidest fucking police chase in all time. They called it off, but on the radio, there was apparently somewhere else was the Macomb County Sheriff's Department was demonstrating their new drone, so they said, we'll chase him with the drone. And so they sent a police drone out to chase down an individual riding an e-bike into a parking garage where he was then arrested. This dangerous criminal was 14 years old. And as a cyclist, I don't ride an e-bike. I ride a regular old human-powered bike who often runs stop signs, because if you've ever ridden a bicycle, you know that not every stop sign is something that has to be respected the same way it is when you're in a car. It just chaps my ass. And I am sick of technology being deployed for some of this bullshit that, police work. And, I can't think of anything else. It's kind of like the parking meter that has a camera on it. And the second that your time expires, even if you're running back to the car, you automatically get a ticket. That stuff just pisses me off. It's just, it makes for an unlevel playing field. And I've had it in Macomb County Sheriff's Department. You're my schmuck.
All right. Allan.
Yep. I'm going to go with Todd Blanche, who is really no better than Pam Bondi. He's just a more polished version. He's just as corrupt. He was bragging the other day that they basically have cleared out anyone in the Justice Department that had anything to do with the Trump, investigations, which is just horrendous. He was the one who went down and interviewed Ghislaine, whatever. Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
I like to say Ghislaine. Maxwell, but who cleared the way and put her in a cushy prison now so she'd shut up. The guy is so corrupt, and look, they wanted to get Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General before Pam Bondi. I mean, it is just such whoredom at such levels, and he is just as big a whore as anyone else in that administration. Todd Blanche, he just looks more dignified.
Well, actually, Allan, I completely agree with you. He's very appropriate to be schmuck of the week. But the problem with Todd Blanche is he knows better. I mean, he's been a line prosecutor. He understood this process.
Yeah.
And he used to understand the dignity of the Justice Department. He just threw it all away after he got to Trump. I mean,
his quote is, "It's not a crime to party without."
Him because he was a guy who had integrity. You don't always, everybody deserves representation. I didn't blame him for representing Trump, but man, has he thrown his ethics out the window?
Everybody sells himself with Trump.
Everything he touches dies. So there you go.
Right. Yeah, and you know that going in.
Yeah.
Shonda.
Shonda.
Saeed, you're on mute. Saeed. Oh, there you go.
Allan reminds me of Woody Allen when he says, they kind of merge dissent and commentary together to make dysentery. So,
it reminds me of a quick story. A friend of mine is Jewish. His parents are, European, and he's dating a woman who now he's been married to for 40 years or something. And he called up and he said, "Mom, I want you to meet my new girl. I'm going to bring my new girlfriend over." And she said, "What's her name?" And he goes, "Deanne Sullivan." And she goes, Diane Solomon.
You hear what you want to hear.
You make your mother happy, right?
You make your mother happy. Yeah. Well, in honor of the Tigers opening day, I've got a few here. First of all, I want to acknowledge a longtime viewer, Layla's Schmuck of the Israeli Knesset passed the law, which very happy. That a death penalty only for Palestinians, no one else, terrorists, not even settlers, which actually also piggybacks a story in the New York Times that apparently the IDF is telling Christian and Druze communities in southern Lebanon not to shelter Muslims with the bombardment going on. So again, really targeting a community during what is being called ethnic cleansing. A couple of others, Michelle Dick, 54 years old, apparently a serial stalker of one of the greatest guitarists and musicians of all time, Lindsey Buckingham. In fact, she doused him with an unknown substance. Luckily, Lindsey is okay, but she kept saying, "You're my father." So that's problematic.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think she needs to not stop thinking about tomorrow. But given the fact that it is Easter weekend, my real schmuck is Shiva Krishna Bera, 36 years old from Pittsburgh, who goes to the South Hills Village Mall, and he approaches a woman dressed as the Easter Bunny, who is posing for photographs. And he said, "Are you a man or woman?" And when she said that she was a woman underneath that, he then grabbed her breasts and stuck his fingers up her nose and mouth. I don't know why, but luckily Mr. Shiva Krishna Bera has been arrested for sexual assault and harassment.
They send a drone after him?
Of the Easter Bunny. I mean, is nothing sacred anymore?
No.
Well, listen, everybody, we're going to get you out before the 1:10 first pitch at Comerica Park. Remember, you can watch it on WJBK. And I think with our outro, Alan, we will go ahead and play our little blurb again for the Bengalis. And
we're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em, Tiger. World Series bound and picking up steam. Go get 'em, Tiger. There'll be joy in Tiger Town. We'll sing you songs when the Bengals bring the pennant home where it belongs. We're all behind our baseball team. Go get 'em. Detroit Tigers. Go get 'em, Tigers.
Go get 'em, Tigers.
Love that song.
Get out there and bring us pride today.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in, for viewing in. Thank you, Barb Ingalls. Thank you, Beverly Watts. Thank you, Bill Seikaly. Thank you, Joel Sklar. Thank you, Nancy Derringer. And thank you, with the last word always, Allan Lengel.
Drive home safely.